My emotions towards my child are unlike anything I'd ever experienced. I can't imagine my life without him.
When you listen to some of these dads talk about their children, you can really just tell they just love them. That their children mean everything to them, and they'll do anything for them.
Just knowing there's this, world out there of people that have lives that aren't normal. And when you go out in public, everyone's life looks so normal.
Lucas was diagnosed with ADHD and also Asperger's syndrome.
Within the last 2 months or so, Joshua was diagnosed with autism.
My son was born with Down syndrome. Didn't find out until about an hour after he was born. Complete shock.
You remember yourself as a new dad of a child with special needs? What would you say?
For me, it was very difficult. I really went through a denial stage. You're going to have to go through those things. I think we all did in this room.
You get easier to handle.
You bounce back from it.
You bounce back from it quicker. We got this group, which is huge, and it doesn't go away. I mean, but it is less grievous.
We've been down so many different roads that people, you can never explain to them. They've never fathomed what you're talking about.
If somebody asked me one word to sum up what I've learned in 20 years of doing this job, it's how isolated men are and how alone they feel. And the metaphor is you can come in here and it feels like home. You don't need to know these guys to walk in here because you have a shared place where you know that you're going to be valued, respected, and understood.
I'm one of those guys that, when I'm having a hard time, I want to talk about, I want to say, how do you guys deal with this? How do you feel, how do you deal with, being so afraid that, your child is, going to die that you don't even know how to go on and stuff. And, it's, and those are the only guys that I think are only people I think that I could do that with. I was very egocentric, a lot of things in life, even my marriage were about, what I wanted to do. And you have a child, any child, and that changes pretty quickly. And then you put special needs into the equation, and the dynamic is even more so. His early diagnosis so that he could get services was cerebral palsy. He's basically undiagnosed, other than the malformations of the brain. Hi. You got a, oh, thank you. Thank you. So you got a big mouthful of carrots, bud? You ready to go home? I was always fairly athletic. I mean, I wasn't a great athlete or anything, but I played baseball and basketball and football. And, I guess I was just kind of really hoping to share, some of those things with my child. And, he's 6 years old and he doesn't really have the reaction time to, catch a ball. And so, all of that kind of stuff goes out the window. And let's go, let's do bubbles. Those all hit you, didn't they? You give up so much of, expecting, certain things, but then you also start to develop new perspectives on, what you hope for them. Bubbles!
I felt so alone because nobody understood No matter how close they were to me, they didn't understand what it was that I, as a father, I, as a man, what I was going through. This loneliness, it was just eating me up. And I found out about the Fathers Network, was invited to go to a meeting, and I didn't want to go. And I remember a friend of mine, one of my best friends, finally said, you know, I'll go with you. And I went. And that was the first time that I ever didn't feel alone anymore. Eric, I even hate saying the word, I hate this word. Eric has autism. It's been a real challenge. I had these dreams for him, that things that he and I were going to do together. Before he was even born, I was already buying him things, like the bat and the ball. I even picked his name out. My wife said, what are we going to name him? And I said, don't worry about it, I've got it figured out. His name is going to be Eric. You know, Eric, E-R-I-K. It means almighty and powerful. Hey, buddy. How's it going? My wife knew there was something wrong, and I guess in the back of my mind I also knew, but I didn't want to admit it, because this wasn't supposed to happen. I was just so angry, because this wasn't right. There were days that I felt like screaming, just yelling, and saying, my God, why? Why my son? Come on, help Dad up. It's like a roller coaster ride. You're up sometimes, you're down sometimes, you're up sometimes, you're down sometimes. It affects everything. The Fathers Network has been a lifesaver for me. It's been like I was out there swimming and sinking, and they threw that life preserver out there and pulled me in. I'm not saying that I don't still hurt, because I do. You know, I will always hurt because of Eric. You know, the loss of the dreams that I had. But I don't focus on those things anymore. It's now more about the positive things that it brings. Give me a hug. The things he can do. We focus on the positive, not the negative. Like, come on, Dad, not in front of the camera, not in front of the guys.
One of Jordan's favorite things to do is to sit out by the curb. And he says, I need to go home and do my job. He's slow to speak, so he really forces people in general to slow down.
Say that again. No.
He's got this whole face smile, you know, and yeah, I think that it really impacts people. You know, he just gives that, I'm just glad to see you. I'm just glad you're here in my life, and, you know, just gives that away. My wife and I both have a blood clotting disorder. When she had Jordan, while she was pregnant with him, there was a clot in the placenta, and that really cut off or lowered the blood flow, restricted the blood flow to him. Part of the brain got damaged for those motor skills. And seems like intellectually he's there, certainly. You don't know what level he's going to be at.
Okay, let's pedal. Oh yeah. There you go.
You see a kid walking along with his dad, and I know my kid can't do that.
Oh, you want to go on the bump down the curb? Yeah. Oh, if we'd let you, you'd probably go down the whole block, wouldn't you?
Someone that I was talking to described it after he heard me talk about Jordan Paul. He said, I like the way you carry Jordan in your heart.
Okay.
And it's that time together that causes that.
When two people get married, okay, what is their vision? Family, a house, and a boat, and a car, a job. All of a sudden, their child is disabled.
There's your curveball.
Good term, wonderful. Wow, you give me such a good pointer.
I I have cerebral palsy, quadriplegia. It affects my right side. To this day, we still don't know why. I do all I can for the Fathers Network. Now we're at the point where fathers are coming to my dad and asking, "What did you go through?"
I attended the meeting, first meeting, as usual. I just bawled. I told everything, you know. I did not feel ashamed because there was a place I can let my
You can open up.
let my emotion out.
I tutor students in the elementary age level, and I help them in reading. You go into the classroom, you pick up a student, and just to see the smile on their face.
You see Sabra as the end of the assembly line.
Chocolate cake.
You
You see
don't
the
s-
final product.
You don't see what goes on behind the line
Right.
to get that final product.
Basically, you look at life the way it takes you. You just deal with it. You deal with it when it comes.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, Sabra.
I want to see that he's happy, but I also want to give him all the tools that we possibly can, to make sure that he can have the best quality of life.
I'm a better father because of Eric. I truly believe that. And sometimes when I come home and I've had the bad day and I'm sitting there and he's just a go-lucky guy, he'll come up to you and just give me a hug or a kiss, and it's like, wow, who's the one with the disability?
Especially as kids, they demand that you give up accomplishing things and recognizing that being with them is really what is accomplishing something most significant. And it's really about spending time in that relationship.
You have to have faith, though. It goes hand in hand. I don't care what religion you follow. You have to have faith. Maybe because of Sabra, I'll go to heaven.